Wanted to focus more on Aaron Rodgers, though. After that brutal loss, he's looking at the glass half full.
I still feel pretty young. I think I have a number of years left in me. I can play at a high level. Yeah, we just got to make sure we're going all in every year to win. And I think we can take a big step this offseason. But I don't think we need to rebuild. We need to reload. We got a lot of players who are young, who are big contributors for us. We just need to reload a little bit this offseason. And I think we had a lot of great contributions this season from guys we didn't really expect starting the season out.
So Rodgers staying optimistic, Stephen A. He's 33 years old. Do you agree with him that the Packers' window is still open in terms of championships?
It's still open because they have him. And because they have him, because he is who he is, and you're thinking Jordy Nelson's going to be healthy next year with the Randall Cobb, and, Devontae Adams is coming to his own. They have some receivers. They have to buffer their running game. Clearly, Eddie Lacy wasn't somebody they could rely upon. He got hurt.
He was buffered.
He was buffered.
Yeah.
He was buffered.
First he was buffered, then he was hurt.
Okay, no question. So you have that issue, and then you got Ty Montgomery, who's really a receiver that was playing running back and actually did a decent job for the most part. But the point is that that's on the offensive side of the ball. Defense is where the Achilles heel lies. This might be the most atrocious secondary that I have seen in years when I watched Green Bay several times this year. Yeah, they showed up a little bit against Dallas, even though Dallas came on in the second half. We saw how Washington ran right at them, which is when they started their winning streak immediately thereafter. But you look at these guys, whether it's a Gunther, whether it's a Ha-Ha Clinton Dix, or whomever else is back there, Hyde and the crew, they were collectively, I'm not highlighting any individuals, collectively, they were god-awful. And I don't care how good you are as a quarterback. You cannot have a secondary that can be shredded at will. That cannot happen. So for me, whether it's Ted Thompson, it's the coach McCarthy, or both, whatever, you have got to buffer that defense and make sure that you can get stops. So, because if you give Aaron Rodgers opportunities, he's going to make something happen.
Let me add to that. And, he continued to say in his press conference that they need to focus and be their first focus being Jared Cook, their tight end. He needs to come back, which is absolutely right.
He got locked down yesterday, though.
Well, but the whole thing about it is in that offense, he can be a special weapon for Aaron Rodgers. And he can see that. Exactly. His speed, his size, his hands. The thing that I look at, is this the time to think about trading Clay Matthews? Clay Matthews has battled a lot of injuries. He's not the same Clay Matthews from early part of his career. You got Julius Peppers, who's getting older as well. On that defense, we know so much about the secondary, what they need to do there. You're not bringing in a Charles Woodson again. You don't have guys that you could put at the quarterback position to be physical. So let's start with the interior part of that defense. Let's start with their linebacking core. Let's move on to their defensive line. I think it's important that they bring in a big-time free agent at the defensive end to be able to apply pressure. I think their tackles are pretty good. You need to also bring in another linebacker, a stud linebacker who can flow sideline to sideline, and then you go to the cornerback position. I like Ha-Ha Clinton Dix. I think he's one of the top corners or safeties in the NFC.
Yeah.
Very rewarded of that. But I think when you look at this team, it starts with their defense, and then you go over to the offensive skill positions like a running back, or maybe bringing in another wide receiver to help that offense. But I don't think the window is closing. I think this is a great opportunity for them to revamp that team, not to reload or to rebuild, revamp it, bring in some vets, young vets who can come in and play and get pressure on the quarterback.
Stephen A's answer was correct in that they have a window of opportunity so long as Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. As long as he's still Aaron Rodgers, and given when the elite quarterbacks tend to fall off, he should have at least 5 more years barring injury. They got a shot at the Super Bowl every year. This was a terrible team that he dragged to the NFC Championship game. But that's part of the problem. Well, why doesn't he advance to the Super Bowl more often? Because the team has no business getting as far as they did. Look, because the team wasn't any good, except for Aaron Rodgers. Now, they have some good offensive line, players on the offensive line. They have no running game. Eddie Lacy first got fat, then got hurt. The receivers were all injured. The secondary's no good. So he somehow drags the team there, then gets by a brutal Giants defense, a lot of body shots in that game, injured them, took guys off the field, and you know, made them less than they were going forward. Same thing in the Dallas game. I mean, this is why you want to buy in the first round. Then you got to go on the road to play maybe the hottest team in the NFL, the Falcons, in a diminished state when you weren't that good to begin with. What do they need to do to optimize Aaron Rodgers' chances to win another Super Bowl, which I think he'll do before the end of his career? You need to draft a corner. You know, first round, you need to get
They've been drafting corners.
You need more talent in the secondary. You got to go sign a free agent safety. You got to figure out running back. I hear what you're saying about the linebacker position and a defensive end, but I think the most pressing thing is that secondary and the running game. If you had a little more in the secondary and the running game, who knows? They got a lot of holes. Aaron Rodgers covers for a lot of them.
Yeah, but we talk so much about the secondary. Look, I mean, most of the teams that are continuing on who have played in this playoff, they haven't had dominant secondary play. I mean, the New England Patriots, you take Malcolm Butler out, do we really say that any of the other corners like Ryan and none of these guys, you know, are top corners?
Ryan's elevating, though. His stock is rising.
Yeah, but is he like what we see from the Denver Broncos?
Donovan, they got
like Harris and also Talib over at the quarterback position? No, because it's about what you can do with your front seven. If your front seven, sorry about the Pittsburgh Steelers, but if your front seven can apply pressure on Tom Brady, then we don't have to talk about the soft zone coverage in the back end.
I have a question about that. Yes, that's the conventional wisdom, but isn't it changing in the sense that there are so many 5-receiver sets now, et cetera? There's so much of you just beat your man to man, that you need players in the secondary who can win those matchups.
Perfect example. The New York Giants, you put so much money into your defense, but if you can't get pressure on Aaron Rodgers to sit back there for 5 to 7 seconds, I don't care if you got Deion Sanders back in the secondary. Routes are going to be rerouted, and then the guy's going to be wide open. You have to start with pressure on the quarterback, and it starts with that D-line and that linebacking core.
You got Deion Jones for Atlanta, for example. Jared Cook couldn't do anything when he was defending against Jared Cook. Plus, he put a lick on Aaron Rodgers. You have to understand. Listen, what Donovan is saying is right in this respect. We rave about Tom Brady. Tom Brady has 2 glaring Super Bowl losses, and it was not because of Eli Manning. It was because those boys put a hat on him.
Okay.
And I mean, and listen,
just to be clear, so sometimes it's not about quarterback versus quarterback. There's a defense on the field, too,
yeah,
right?
I understand that, but what I'm saying to you
and that defense got after Rodgers yesterday.
But what I'm saying to you is that when you are a quarterback, particularly somebody like Brady who can pick you apart, you got to soften him up. That's what football is. Now, granted, he might get up. But listen, you're the one here that played quarterback, and it's unfair. Maybe you don't know because you're a big boy. Most quarterbacks aren't as big as you. And the fact is, when they get popped, they get up like, damn, I don't want to get hit like that again. I had members of the New York Giants, Justin Tuck and the crew, telling me Tom Brady was getting up every time, cussing out his offensive linemen and stuff like that. He kept coming at us. But
that body work
he was
in
getting
early.
that body work in.
Yep.
It matters.
We got to leave it there, Donovan. So good to see you. We'll see you again on Friday. Looking forward to that.